Hello traders, welcome to the Friday forecast plus trade recap. So this one is a bit later on a Friday, so it will be actually for the next week. Today is also NFP. I'm not trading NFP after 8 a.m. London Open. So basically, let me see what is going on in the markets and then we may find something to look at for the next week, so for Monday. And just a reminder, Mondays and Tuesdays are predominantly range-bound days, so any moves I see now are very likely to just continue ranging on Monday. But again, after NFP, we usually get some nice moves either the next week or the week after that. So before NFP, markets are kind of quiet, they start preparing for the news, and then after NFP is when things start heating up. So we do like NFP, but we don't trade a day because, well, usually what happens, you will see later on. I mean, traders just get stopped out all over the place. Okay, EU basically arranged right here, flat range, pushed up, retraced, pushed up again, weakness on the top, retraced, created a V reversal. So let me mark out the V reversal right here, V reversal, and then a range, and guess what, push down. So to be expected, unfortunately on the bottom we are now descending, so we pulled back a bit, broke the low again, retraced, printed a huge wick to the downside, so that's a warning sign. What I'm looking for on Monday in the next week is, to be honest, just for the price to move away from this price action. It ain't giving me much conviction. I mean, we broke out of the range, but then retraced back into the range, so I just need to see a large impulse up or a large impulse down. Otherwise, I'm just leaving this pair alone. Most likely, this will just continue ranging in this general area. So let's move on from EU. EU is so freaking boring, so usually it just ranges for a long time. That's a common characteristic. Okay, EJ, really nice move right here for me to demonstrate a lesson. What do we see here? Flat range. What is on the bottom or on the top of a range? Liquidity zones. Right here, full of stops. Traders selling the top, traders buying the bottom. What do the market makers do? They usually descend into these liquidity areas, just like you see here. Small descending channel right here, and then reverse the price. They stop everyone out. So each of these stops get triggered. They descend and then they reverse the price with some really nice strong momentum. So that's a clear example right here. This impulse to the upside is very nice. Concern is, of course, this candle momentum shift to the downside. Usually when you see a nice push up but then a strong red candle, it does not continue. It just ascends and then ranges around or completely reverses in the opposite direction. So this is now a warning sign this week, this candle. It's pretty big. I mean, let's see. 42 pips. Just compare the size. How do we do that? Basically draw it. Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's one of the biggest candles found in this general area. Definitely a momentum shift. On a Monday, I will be looking for the price to continue. I believe we now have some fuel. Right here, this descending into liquidity should have created some fuel for the price to reverse. I'm expecting this to continue. If it continues, I will be looking to buy on a flag or on a nice break and they retest. Then it would also be an established trend for me. An established trend is a push up, pull back, and then a continuation impulse. That means any trade that happens is even more high probability because if it's an established trend, that means there is even more fuel and it just makes the whole setup even better. Okay, but that's not the rule. Price can also reverse. If we get a V reversal, I'm looking for a range and of course a push to a downside, then a flag or a break and retest to sell, such as this one right here. So V range push down. That is what I am expecting if the price reverses. To be honest, because of the momentum shift and because Monday and Tuesday, I think next week we will just get this ranging price action. That is kind of where the probabilities are. So the probabilities are currently that we will just continue with this overall larger range. So yeah, We shall see. If we get a push up, I'm very, very interested. Otherwise, I'm more patient. AU, we got to move down, basically. You can see NFP. This is definitely NFP news. We don't care, but it's nice to identify it. And it ended with a huge wick. Prior price action. I saw nothing, no potential trades. For me, this was just kind of ascending and then started descending. And then we got this push down, just a one candle push down. So that's not really a sign of much momentum. Usually I want 2 or 3 consecutive red or blue candles. That is a sign of momentum. And the huge warning sign ended with an absolutely huge wick. I mean, this is a huge news wick. After this sort of a wick, we usually get the reversal or we get the larger range. So backtest it. Go to TradingView, backtest what happens when you see this huge wick. If we continue down, I will look to sell, but I need to see large conviction and nice impulse. If we reverse, I'm looking for a range, push up, and then a flag or a break, and they retest to the upside. Because of this huge wick, because of Monday and Tuesday, I'm expecting a larger range in this general area. That's about it for AU. AJ, let's see. So this one, again, looks pretty similar to EJ. What do we have here? And if you're wondering if I had a trade right here, I did not. So let's play the next candle. Maybe some people were seeing a push down, one candle pullback and then a continuation, but overall structure is very, very range bound. For me as a trend trader, this range bound price action is a major warning sign. Anything that happens here for me is not high probability. So this established trend is inside of a larger range. For me, that just does not work. Then price continued and kind of descended into this lower liquidity area, but also moved past it. Clear liquidity area, as we said, bottom or the top of the range, then descending channel. So stops being taken out, more stops here. Huge wick, price reverses, major fuel, major momentum. Just look at these consecutive 2 candles. They are definitely showing us some large momentum, but then it ends with a momentum shift. So basically we get a huge red candle, warning sign. So for me, I'm expecting a larger range in this area, to be honest, something like this. If there was no huge red candle here, it would be perfect. I would look to buy on a Monday or Tuesday. I would look for something like this, but unfortunately we did print this red candle. So if price continues with large momentum with a nice large impulse, I will look to buy further up. If we get a V and then a range, I will look to sell. So kind of similar forecast for every single pair, to be honest. Nothing is that interesting currently. The pound, it's moving down, but again, not much momentum, not something I want to see on the pound. Just look at this sort of price action, basically a descending all the way to a downside, breaking the lows, retracing, breaking the lows, retracing, breaking the lows, retracing, small candles, slow down in momentum, price reverses again, creates a V, and then we get the 1 candle push, pull back, push again, pull back, prints a huge wick. This looks very bad. What you're looking for is something like this. Let's try to find a nice large impulse. You're looking for this, okay? Nice push up, pull back, and then a continuation. That is what we're looking for. And this current price action is not showing me much potential. So what I'm looking for in the next week is, you have guessed it, large push down, flag or break in the retest, or sort of a V reversal, range, push up, and then a flag or a break and a retest. So that's about it for the pound. Moving on, we have NJ, New Zealand Japanese yen. For this one, there was a really interesting trade that happened right here. So one thing we know about NJ, pair characteristic is it does like to move from channel to channel. So we have a descending channel, and then the descending channel moved into an ascending channel. We got a push down, 1 candle pullback, it's red, meaning it's with the trend, continues, clean close on the end, that's a very good sign. And maybe some people had an order on here. For me, I just wanted to see a bit more. So yeah, it is a common characteristic. This pair does like to move from channels to channels. And I was very close to getting into this trade, but just I wanted to see one more break here. So I wanted to see a bit more in the prior impulse. Right here, this was just not really convincing enough. It broke the low by just one candle, printed the wick, and then continued. So basically what I wanted to see is potentially a 2-candle break. Something like this. Then of course that 1-candle pullback. And then my continuation candle with a nice clean close. That is a setup that is 100% worth taking, even in these sort of range bound conditions. So I want to see a little bit more, but if you were in, you would get tagged here and you would have banked some nice profits. With the trailing stop loss rule, I believe it would have been, let's see, you would get taken out here around 2.3% trade. That's very good. That's a nice trade, and then price reversed. So started descending here and then we reversed as expected. No real NFP moves on this pair, but unfortunately this move to the upside was not sustained. We got a V. I'm expecting a larger range here. This looks like crap. This ain't looking good for this pair. As every other one, I'm looking for a large impulse, a flag or a break, and they retest. Same thing to a downside, especially now with this V formation, potential range, push down, nice large push down, flag or a break, and they retest. So that's about it for all the pairs, guys. As I said, NFP usually moves the market, but it takes a bit of time for the news to accumulate, for market makers to take their positions, for the trends to start. That's why, you know, maybe next week or the week after that, we will get some nice trends. So be more patient, stick to your plan, don't get FOMO. And we know that Q1 of each year usually brings us some nice percentage. So trends will come, just sit tight, be patient. That's it. See you guys in the next week.